friends, and welcome back to Zavres Professional Academy's virtual study room of Fundamentals of Accounting. I am your host and faculty CA Anshulagrawal. Welcome you back to our next topic, chapter number 4, Rectification of Errors. We have already dealt with chapter number 1, Accountancy, Introduction and Basic Concepts. Chapter number 2, Accounting Process. Chapter number 3, Rectification of Errors, and now we are here on to chapter number 4, Rectification of Errors. If you see your ZPA study material of Fundamentals of Accounting, you can see that I have categorized all the topics into various sections. And if you see section 1, section A, it comprises all those topics which are relating to accounting essentials. That means what? That means those topics are required for you to develop your understanding and your knowledge of the subject of Fundamentals of Accounting. And that's after completing first 3 topics, we are here on to the last topic of this segment, chapter number 4, Rectification of Errors. If you recall, commerce students recall, then this topic is nothing new for you. Rectification of error was already covered in any of the state board 11 standard commerce. We have seen this topic over there, but we are going to see it extensively again. My dear friends, I often receive queries from the students, and even I also, while setting up your weekly test papers or test series papers, I personally feel one thing, that rectification of error, it is a topic in which you can take difficulty level of paper to any level. This topic has ocean of concepts and there's vast scope of asking questions on this topic. I've also seen a lot of times students are struggling with the simple doubts that in this particular transaction, whether one effect is wrong or both the effect is wrong. The question is asked on what part, what type, what they are expecting out of this question, and that is how they get jumbled up with this particular topic. So now when we are beginning with this topic, what our objective is, we'll understand this topic properly, slowly, thoroughly, and conceptually. We are going to take an example. We are going to develop that example right from the bottom till the top. We are going to take an entire tour of this particular topic, all the concepts and examples we are going to consider over here, and then we are going to come and solve the practical questions given in your ZPA material, followed by the MCQs on this topic. At the end of the topic, we are going to build up a list of the types of MCQs that can be asked on this topic. Because please understand, as I've told you, if you compare this topic with the previous topic of bank reconciliation statement, in bank reconciliation statement, there's still some limitations on the level of difficulty that you can raise to that topic. But if you ask me about this particular topic, there's always a huge potential and scope for you to raise the difficulty level of paper. Correct? So never be afraid. Sit cautiously, listen patiently, understand properly. Now again, as we do always in all the chapters, we'll begin with why are we studying this topic. So I'll again connect you to the accounting process, which we have already studied in our chapter number 2. Accounting process starts with what? Event. To that event, you ask 2 questions. Which 2 questions? Are you relating to business? And can you be expressed in terms of money? If answer to both the question is yes, you check, is there any change in financial position? Now, what do you mean by financial position? So, if you remember your topic number 1, what we did, I've shown you 4 quadrants of accountancy, and those 4 quadrants were income, expenses, assets, and liabilities. So, if it is affecting any of the 4, it becomes what? Transaction. Once it becomes transaction, what do? You apply the dual aspect concept. You see in that transaction what you are gaining or what is coming in the business and what you are losing, what is going out of the business. And then accordingly, you identify the accounts involved. After you identify the accounts involved, you identify nature of accounts, you apply the golden rules of accountancy, you pass journal entry. Once you pass journal entry, which is known as the process of journalizing, then you post it to their individual ledger account, which is known as ledger posting. After you do ledger posting, you prepare what? Trial balance. We have seen in last topic also that this trial balance is your basic ingredient. It serves as the basic ingredient for you when you prepare your financial statement. So now it is very important for us to reconfirm all these balances appearing in trial balance. This is known as the procedure of balance confirmation. In the procedure of balance confirmation, we have seen in the previous topic that if your bank balance do not matches with the bank balance as per passbook, then in that case we prepare a separate statement known as bank reconciliation statement. We need to also check for some errors. We need to check that whether our trial balance is free from all the errors or not, and that is exactly where we are on to this topic of rectification of errors. My dear friends, your trial balance is tallied. Does that mean there are no errors lying in your trial balance? The answer is no. If your trial balance do not tally, it's definitely an indication there are some errors, correct? You don't need to think anything about that. But what if your trial balance is tallied? Does that mean there are no errors in it? Answer is no. Why? We will see. You need to still see that there may still persist some errors even though your trial balance is tallied, correct? And that's how we are going to see how it happens, what it happens. So we'll start with the basics. What is an accounting error? Moreover, I'll start with what is an error. So if I tell you the dictionary meaning of the word error, error means mistake. Mistake means something done unintentionally. So if you remember what you study in law, what is the difference between fraud and mistake? So there's a thin line of difference between fraud and mistake, and that difference is of the intention. Active concealment of fact is known as fraud, correct? And those things which are done unintentionally, unknowingly, they are known as mistakes. So errors means mistakes, but here it doesn't mean that it's unintentional only. It can be intentional also. We never know. Going forward, we have to see what do you mean by accounting error, correct? Now, accounting error means any accounting entry passed or a transaction recorded which is in contravention or against the accounting principles. We all know that accounting entries are based on accounting principles that we have already dealt in chapter number 1 and 2. When you say accounting principles, what do you mean? You mean accounting concepts, you mean accounting conventions, you mean accounting standards issued by the Institute of Chartered Accountants of India, which we are going to see in the next topic, chapter number 5, and you mean other legal requirements, if any. Say for example, for companies, there are certain requirements laid down by the Companies Act. For banking companies, there are requirements which are laid down by Banking Regulation Act. So my dear friends, accounting should be done within the legal frontier of the accounting principles. But if an entry is passed or if a transaction is recorded going beyond or contravening or violating any of the accounting principle which creates an error, it is known as an accounting error. And this accounting error also includes omission. Omission means chhoot jana, to omit, correct? Now my dear friends, as we discussed, if an accounting entry is passed violating any of the accounting principle, it is known as an accounting error. It includes omission. Now, we need to understand this double entry system of accounting, because the base of trial balance is derived from what? Double entry system. In the first topic, we have seen methods of bookkeeping, single entry system and double entry system. We have seen that under single entry system, where only one aspect of transaction is considered, We can't prepare trial balance. And why we can't prepare trial balance? Because you have completely disregarded the second aspect of the transaction. And when you can't prepare trial balance, it's not easy for you to even prepare financial statements. But under double entry system, which is based on the principle of dual aspect concept propounded by Luca di Pacioli, we consider both the aspects of a transaction. We consider what is coming in the business, what is going out of the business. And when you consider that, you give two effects to each transaction. One is debit, another is credit. So when you are giving both the effects of a transaction, after every accounting entry, your accounting equation should be balanced. So we have seen accounting equation means, if you visualize your balance sheet, assets is equal to capital plus liabilities. So basically your trial balance should also be equalized. It should be agreed. It should be tallied. Correct? So that's what we are going to understand over here. A transaction will take a transaction, goods purchased from Vivan for rupees 68,000. Now this is an event, obviously yes. You have to ask two questions. Are you relating to business? Yes. You purchase goods for your business. Can you be expressed in terms of money? Yes. You purchase goods for the monetary value of rupees 68,000. You need to check, is there any change in financial position? Now what happens when you purchase goods? You get goods, you receive goods, stock comes in the business, correct? Stock, can I say it is my asset? So my assets increases. As it's given in this transaction, goods purchased from Vivan for rupees 68,000. They haven't mentioned anything about payment. They haven't mentioned that goods purchased from Vivan for rupees 68,000 and paid cash and paid check. They haven't mentioned anything about it. That means, can I say it is a credit purchase transaction? So if it's a credit purchase transaction, and if I observe my financial position after this transaction, my assets will increase because I'm purchasing goods. It increases my stock. And since I haven't paid for it, so there's a liability arising. There's a creditor who will be now standing in my books of accounts with the name Vivan. So what will be the journal entry for this transaction? So the journal entry will be purchase account debit to Vivan's account credit. How? Identify the accounts involved, purchase account and Vivan's account. Identify nature of accounts. Purchase account, nominal account. What is the rule of nominal account? Debit all expenses and losses. Vivan, personal account. Rule of personal account says debit the receiver, credit the giver. Since Vivan is the giver of goods, you will credit Vivan. Now how this mechanism exactly works? When you pass this accounting entry, purchase account debit to Vivan's account credit. We have just completed chapter number 2 and we have seen various types of subsidiary books over there. One of the subsidiary book what we discussed over there was purchase book. Which transactions are recorded in purchase book? So the purchase book records all credit purchase transactions only. I've explained you over there, when you say credit purchase, it means credit purchase of stock and not assets. So here when they have used word goods, it means obviously stock. And what do you mean by stock? Those goods which are purchased with the intention of selling it ahead. They are purchased and they are held with the intention to be sold ahead. Understood all of you? Now, it's a credit purchase transaction. Therefore, this transaction, the debit effect of this transaction will flow to which book? It will be recorded in purchase book. So, can I say you have already debited purchase account after you recorded this entry? Yes. What about the credit effect? Vivan's account. So, in our secondary books of accounts, we'll create a ledger account with the name of Vivan's account and we'll go to that account and credit this particular amount of 68,000 to that account. Now, if you observe after this particular transaction, my dear friends, if you see your accounting effect, so you have given effect on debit side. That means what? You have debited purchases and you've also given effect on credit side. That means you have credited what? Creditors. So debit also 68,000, credit also 68,000. Can I say your trial balance will agree after this transaction? Answer is absolutely yes. Not only this, if you analyze this transaction from the purview of your financial position, that how your financial position is going to change after this particular transaction. So if you see, when you buy goods from Vivan for which you haven't made payment, आपने अभी तक पेमेंट नहीं किया है. So आपने पेमेंट नहीं किया है, that means what? There's a liability standing, a new liability will be created. So can I say after this transaction my creditors will increase? Yes, that's what is happening over here. Check. Not only that, since I have purchased the goods, stock will come to me. Stock is my asset, and consequently my assets will also increase, my stock will also increase. So again, if you see in this transaction, the double entry concept is matching. That means the total debit is equal to total credit, and the total liabilities is equal to total assets. So this equation tallies after every transaction. It has to tally. And then accordingly, your total debits and credits will be equal. Now what we will do, guys, in order to understand this topic in a better manner, we'll take this example ahead. Goods purchased from Vivan for rupees 68,000, and will now try to foresee what are the possible errors and what is going to be its accounting impact or its impact on the financial statement. So here in this slide, we are going to analyze this particular transaction from the various aspects, and then we are going to see what errors can be done. Honestly speaking, I've still not started this topic conceptually. We are just discussing basic things. What are the errors, what it may happen, what it may not happen, correct? अभी तक हम types of errors on all सारी वहाँ तक नहीं पहुँचे हैं. हम अभी तक सिर्फ basic चीजें ही discuss कर रहे हैं. देखते हैं. So errors क्या क्या हो सकते हैं? So हमने transaction pick up किया था, goods purchased from Vivan for rupees 68,000. First possible error, let us see. The error is omitted to be recorded at all in purchase book. This transaction is omitted to be recorded at all. In which book? Purchase book. Now, understand. This transaction has two aspects. Goods purchased from Vivan for rupees 68,000. It has two aspects. It's a credit purchase transaction. Purchase should be debited and Vivan account should be credited. We have already seen that. The first possible error is you have omitted to be recorded this transaction at all in purchase book. Now, does that mean credit effect is also wrong? Answer is no. Don't make those assumptions. When they have said that it's only omitted to be recorded at all in purchase book, that means the debit effect is not done. What will be the effect of this error? Let us see. So when you say it is not recorded in the purchase book at all, that means can I say purchase account is not at all debited? So when you have not debited purchase account, can I say my purchases will appear less, or can I say my purchases will be understated? Are you getting all of you? If my purchases are understated, I have done the credit effect. I have credited Vivan's account, but I have not debited purchase account. So the consequence will be, number one, my purchases will be understated. Since my purchases will be understated, can I say my profits will be overstated? Now understand, if you visualize your trading account, debit side 2 purchases, 2 opening stock, 2 purchases, 2 direct expenses, and then you have to gross profit. So if my purchases figure gets reduced, my gross profit increases. So यही हुआ यहाँ पे. Since you have not given the debit effect to purchase account, your purchases are understated and your profit is overstated. But you have given credit effect. Debit is done, credit is not done. There will be mismatch in trial balance. Why? Credit you have done 68,000, debit you haven't done anything. Not only this, if you observe, your stock will also be understated because you have not recorded this purchase at all. You have not recorded it in the purchase book, correct? What is the second possible error that may happen with this transaction? So it is recorded in purchase book as 86,000. The correct transaction value is 68,000. You have recorded in purchase book. It's not like the transaction number 1 where you have not recorded at all. You have recorded, but at what value? 86,000. What happens? Can I say you have recorded with excess amount, correct? How much is that excess amount? 28,000. 18,000. You have recorded purchase excess by 18,000. What will happen as a result of this transaction? My purchases will be overstated. My stock will be overstated. Now my purchases are overstated. Can I say my profit will get understated? And again there will be mismatch in debit and credit. Reason is very simple. You have debited 86,000 but you have credited how much? 68,000. Correct? What is the third possible error? It is recorded in purchase book twice. Means what? The correct transaction is goods purchased from Vivan for rupees 68,000. Understand? You recorded in purchase book this amount twice. That means 68,000 plus 68,000, 1,36,000. Again, if you see your purchases are overstated, your stock will appear inflated, overstated. Debit 1,36,000, credit 68,000. There is mismatch in debit and credit. Correct? What are the other possible errors? Let us see. It is recorded in the purchase book but not posted to Vivan's account. The transaction is recorded correctly in the purchase book at 68,000 but not at all posted to Vivan's account. Now what will happen as a result of this transaction? आपने डेबिट इफेक्ट दिया है परचेज में बट आपने विवान अकाउंट को क्रेडिट नहीं किया है. दैट मीन्स यू हैव नॉट रिकॉर्डेड इट एज अ लायबिलिटी. कैन आई से योर लायबिलिटीज विल गेट अंडरस्टेटेड? यस. You have done debit of 68,000 but you have not done credit. There will be mismatch in your debit and credit. You recorded in purchase book at 68,000 but posted to Vivan's account as 86,000. Again an error. You've recorded in purchase book at 68,000, correct value. Debit is absolutely correct. Vivan account, you posted 86,000. You posted excess credit by 18,000. What will happen? My liabilities will get overstated. And again, there is mismatch in debit and credit. Why mismatch? Because debit you have done 68,000, credit you have done 86,000. What is another possible error? Let's see. You have recorded in purchase book at 68,000 but posted twice to Vivan's account. Purchase account correctly debited by 68,000. Vivan's account you have credited twice by 68,000 plus 68,000, 1,36,000. What will be the effect of this error? Understand, your again liabilities will be inflated because you have credited twice. Your liability are overstated and there is mismatch in debit and credit. Correct? So you can see एक पर्टिकुलर ट्रांजेक्शन में कितने टाइप ऑफ एरर्स पॉसिबल है. सो वही हमारा ऑब्जेक्टिव है. We have picked up this transaction. We are going to analyze all the aspects of this transaction. We are going to think, develop our understanding, our visualization, and then we are going to enter the core part of this topic. Correct? There are still some errors to go ahead. Let's see what are the further possible errors. So the next error that we can get out of this transaction is, it is recorded in the sales book instead of purchase book. Now can you believe it? It's a credit purchase transaction. Ideally should have been recorded in which book? Purchase book. But instead of that, you've recorded this transaction in which book? Sales book. What will happen? Now when they said recorded in the sales book, it means you have credited sales account. That means your purchases are understated. You have not recorded purchases at all. That means you have overstated your sales. सिर्फ purchase गलत नहीं हुआ है, sales भी गलत हुआ है. Sales आपके ज़्यादा दिख रहे हैं, overstate हो गए. And accordingly, when you have not debited anything in this transaction, You have credited sales account, you have credited Vivan's account, your credits are more than debits. That will create mismatch in debit and credit. And the last possible error on this particular transaction is you have recorded in purchase book but posted to Vivan's account on wrong side. Now, we have seen the correct entry for this transaction. The entry was what? Purchase account debit to Vivan's account credit, correct? Now, Vivan's account should have been credited. You debited purchase account correctly? Absolutely correct, no problem. Vivan's account जो क्रेडिट होना चाहिए था वो आपने गलती से विवान अकाउंट के डेबिट में रिकॉर्ड कर दिया है. दैट मीन्स विवान अकाउंट इज रॉन्गली डेबिटेड. मीन्स परचेज ऑल्सो डेबिटेड, विवान अकाउंट ऑल्सो डेबिटेड. व्हाट विल बी द इफेक्ट ऑफ दिस एरर? इफ यू सी योर डेबिट्स आर मोर देन क्रेडिट्स. Really speaking, in this particular transaction, you haven't credited anything. You have debited both the amounts. As a result of this, your liabilities are understated because Vivan's account, which should have been credited, you have debited him. So your liabilities, your creditors are understated and thereby creating mismatch in total debits and total credits. Correct? So, when a particular transaction can get exposed to so many types of errors and still there are a lot of effects to be seen ahead. So my dear friends, it's very important for us to be very cautious and deal with all the errors properly. Now what is the impact of error? We have just seen some examples over here with one particular transaction. So what is an impact of an error? So if you see, an error makes a strong impact on all the four quadrants of a business. And those four quadrants are assets, liabilities, expenses and income. We have just taken this one transaction, goods purchased from Vivan for rupees 68,000, and that's how you have seen that how this particular error has created a strong impact on all the four quadrants. But from the examination viewpoint, we need to analyze primarily two major impacts. We need to see impact of an error on trial balance, and we also need to see impact of an error on your profitability. Because yes, it's not only going to affect your trial balance, it's also going to affect your profitability. Correct? So moving forward with this, we have to now see what are the various types of errors. Correct? So my dear friends, there are basically four types of errors. Number one, error of omission. Number two, error of commission. Number three, error of principal. And number four is compensating errors. So now please understand, why we are doing this classification is just to understand the types of errors in a better manner. Because when we have seen that with that just one example, there are so many types of errors possible. If we need to understand treatment of each type of error, we need to first understand the nature of error. And in order to understand that nature of error, we need to classify them. We need to categorize them. We need to divide them into various types. Correct? So here we are going to understand all the four types of errors properly and systematically. Correct? Now we are going to see one by one various types of errors. The first type of error which we are going to see now is error of omission. What do you mean by this word omission? So the word omission means to omit, and to omit means to leave or to forget. Correct? Error of omission. So when a transaction is omitted to be recorded, either in whole or in part, it is known as error of omission. That means what? You have given one effect of the transaction, but you have forgotten to give the second effect of the transaction, or you have forgotten to give both the effects of a transaction. It is omitting a transaction, and therefore these types of errors will be known as error of omission. Now, the error of omissions are further classified into two types. The first type what we are going to see is error of partial omission. Understand what do you mean by error of partial omission. when only one effect of a transaction is given and the other effect is omitted, not given. That means the transaction is partially recorded and partially omitted. Those types of errors are known as errors of partial omission. So let's take an example of the earlier example itself, but we'll continue ahead. Goods purchased from Vivan for rupees 68,000 recorded in the purchase book, but not posted to Vivan's account. Now what happened in this transaction? The correct entry what we have analyzed was purchase account debit to Vivan's account credit. You have posted this entry in the purchase book, that means you have already debited purchase account, but you haven't credited Vivan's account. Therefore, in this situation, debit effect is given but credit effect is omitted. Therefore, this is the classical example of error of partial omission. Now what will happen? You have given debit effect, credit effect not given. Will your trial balance tally? The answer is no. In the earlier slides, we have seen impact of errors on two things we have to analyze. One is trial balance, another is profitability. So since it's a partial omission error, trial balance will not tally. But what will be the effect on profitability? Profitability पे effect कब आएगा? When the error will affect a nominal account. And what do you mean by nominal account? An account which is relating to expense or an income. So in this transaction, purchase account is a nominal account. You have already given effect to the purchase account. जितने का effect देना चाहिए था, उतने का ही effect आपने दिया है. Therefore, it will not affect your profitability. Correct? The second type of error is error of complete omission. Goods purchased from Vivan for rupees 68,000 neither recorded in purchase book nor recorded in Vivan's account. Now understand, this transaction is completely omitted. You have neither recorded in purchase book, that means purchase account is not debited, nor recorded in Vivan's account. So nothing debited, nothing credited, there won't be any difference in trial balance. Your trial balance will agree. अब देखो, मैंने आपसे कहा था ट्रायल बैलेंस एग्री हो रहा है, इसका मतलब जरूरी नहीं है एरर्स ना हो. If your trial balance is agreeing, doesn't mean necessarily your trial balance is not defective. It can still be defective, and this is the example what we have seen over here, error of complete omission. What will be its effect on profit? Understand. Purchase account should have been debited. Is it debited? No. Since purchase account is not debited, expenses are understated. Expenses are understated means what? Profit is overstated. You need to understand what is the relation between expense and profit, income and profit. So can I say that expenses are inversely proportionated with profit? Means what? If my expenses increases, my profit decreases, and if my expenses decreases, my profits increases. And can I say my revenues or my sales or my income is directly proportionate to profit? Yes. If my sales increases, my income, my revenue increases, my profits also increases. Correct? So this is the first type of error, error of omission, error of partial omission, error of complete omission. The second type of error that we need to see here is error of commission. What do you mean by commission? To commit, ho jana. My dear friends, error of commission, if an amount is posted to wrong account, if an amount is posted to wrong account or wrong side of an account, or with wrong amount, or with wrong casting, wrong balances carried or brought forward, it is known as error of commission. Basically, can I say all the clerical errors are errors of commissions? आपने गलत अकाउंट में एंट्री पोस्ट कर दी है, अकाउंट के गलत साइड में एंट्री पोस्ट कर दी है, गलत अमाउंट से एंट्री पोस्ट कर दी है, पोस्टिंग एरर है. पोस्टिंग मीन्स व्हाट? टेकिंग फ्रॉम वन पेज टू अनदर पेज. Casting errors. What do you mean by casting? टोटलिंग एरर्स है. These all falls under which type of error? Error of commission. Let's take an example over here. Goods purchased from Vivan for rupees 68,000 recorded in purchase book at 68,000 but posted to Vivan's account as 86,000. Now understand what happened in this transaction. Purchase account is correctly debited by 68,000. Vivan's account, which should have been credited by 68,000, has been actually credited with how much? 86,000, excess credited, recording a transaction with wrong amount. Which type of error? Error of commission. Now what will be the impact of this error? If you check, it is debited with 68,000 and it is credited with 86,000. Can I say debit of trial balance is not equal to credit of trial balance, therefore my trial balance will not agree? Correct? We have to analyze the effect on trial balance and profitability. So first, trial balance will not agree. Why not agree? Debit is not equal to credit. What will be the effects on profitability? Understand. Purchase account is a nominal account. Vivan is a personal account. So Vivan's account effect is not going to affect my profitability. In order to analyze that whether this transaction is going to affect my profitability or not, I need to just analyze the effect of purchase account. So my dear friends, purchase account is debited by 68,000, which is the correct amount. So when it is debited with the correct amount, there is no impact on profitability. Your profitability is absolutely correct. Clear, all of you? Next, let's take one more example, that goods purchased from Vivan for rupees 68,000 wrongly posted to Vishal's account. Goods किससे परचेज किए हैं? विवान से. किसके अकाउंट को क्रेडिट करना चाहिए था? विवान का अकाउंट. लेकिन गलती से आपने किसका अकाउंट क्रेडिट कर दिया? विशाल्स अकाउंट क्रेडिट कर दिया. इससे क्या होगा समझिए. विशाल अकाउंट क्रेडिट कर दिया, रॉन्ग अकाउंट इज क्रेडिटेड. माय डियर फ्रेंड्स, नंबर 1, लेट अस चेक इफेक्ट ऑन ट्रायल बैलेंस. हैव यू डेबिटेड? यस. परचेज अकाउंट डेबिटेड. हैव यू क्रेडिटेड? यस. विशाल्स अकाउंट डेबिटेड. कोई भी अकाउंट करो, क्रेडिट किया है. हैव यू डेबिटेड with 68,000? Yes, correctly debited with 68,000. Have you credited with the equal amount? Yes, I've also credited with 68,000. So when debit is 68, credit is 68, there's no chance of getting difference in trial balance. Your trial balance has to agree. Correct? No effect on trial balance. What will be the effect on profitability? Understand what I said? In order to analyze effect on profitability, what do you need to see? Whether your nominal accounts have been treated properly or not. That's all. Purchase account is nominal, but Vishal account is not nominal. Purchase account कितने से डेबिट होना चाहिए था? 68,000 से. Purchase account 68,000 से डेबिट हुआ है. Profit पे भी कोई इफेक्ट नहीं होगा. So you can see your trial balance will also agree. There won't be any effect on profitability, but that doesn't mean it is not an error. It is an error. Which type of error? Error of commission. तो सर एक चीज बताइए, जब आप कह रहे हो कि इस एरर का ट्रायल बैलेंस पे इफेक्ट नहीं होगा, इस एरर का प्रॉफिट पे इफेक्ट नहीं होगा, तो ये एरर को रेक्टिफाई करने की जरूरत क्या है? Why are we supposed to rectify this error? Understand. When you will do balance confirmation and you will confirm your balance with Vivan as well as Vishal, it won't match. Why it won't match? Because actually this transaction has taken place with whom? Vivan. लेकिन आपने ये किसके साथ रिकॉर्ड किया है? विशाल के साथ. दोनों का बैलेंस मैच नहीं होगा. You need to reconfirm these balances, correct? So that is why it's very, very important. The third type of error, what we are going to now see, is the most important type of errors, and it's very severe error, and this is where we are up to. Error of principle. Principle means what? Rules. If an accounting entry is passed contravening means violating any of the accounting principles like accounting concepts, accounting conventions, accounting standards, etc. It is known as an error of principle. Very, very important. We have seen many accounting concepts and conventions, correct? So we are definitely going to take example over here, but let's discuss one more example. You have purchased a furniture for rupees 50,000, correct? You paid cost 50,000 rupees. Now, your friend went to the market to buy the same furniture. He got it for 60,000 rupees. So you may have got some cash discount, or you may have some vouchers with you, whatever it is. But how much you paid out of your pocket? 50,000. And how much your friend paid? 60,000. Now, as per cost concept of accountancy, when you will record this transaction in your books of accounts, you will debit furniture account with how much? 50,000 and not 60,000. But what you did, you have debited furniture account with 60,000. Why? आपने देखा कि आपका friend कितने में लाया है? 60,000. आपने debit कर दिया 60,000. Is it correct? The answer is no. Why no? Because you have violated cost concept of accountancy. What does the cost concept of accountancy says? It says that transactions should be recorded at cost price, historical cost, price actually paid out of your pockets. So my dear friends, you have paid how much for furniture? 50,000 or 60,000? 50,000. You will record furniture at what value? You will record it at 50,000. So very, very important. Please understand. Now let's take an example over here. Goods purchased from Vivan for rupees 68,000 recorded as a purchase of an asset. Now this is the very common type of error that you guys are going to get to see in the error of principle. Mostly 90% cases these errors are only asked, like capital expenditure is treated as revenue expenditure, or revenue expenditure is treated as capital expenditure. Now we discuss these concepts in our chapter number 2. What do you mean by capital expenditure and what do you mean by revenue expenditure? We'll just revise it once. What do you mean by capital expenditure? Those expenditures which are incurred and which gives your business long-term advantage, which are substantial in amount, not incurred on day-to-day basis. Again, which are not substantial in amount, which are not incurred on day-to-day basis, which results into creation of an asset which will give long-term financial benefit, economic benefit to your business. Those types of expenditures are known as capital expenditures. But those expenditures which are incurred in day-to-day business activity, which are substantially not big but small in amount, which gives you short-term benefit, probably which may result into repairs and maintenance, they are which expenditure? Revenue expenditure. When we are going to proceed ahead and we are going to see chapter number 7, depreciation, in that topic we are going to study one definition. I would like to just mention about it now, and that definition we are going to see is for cost of an asset. Now a lot of time question comes in front of us, what is cost of an asset? So the accounting standard 6, which is now no more, it's merged, that accounting standard 6 explains cost of an asset means all the cost incurred to bring an asset to present location and its working condition. That means what? सिर्फ asset खरीदने से ही asset की cost capitalize नहीं होती है, जब तक वो asset working condition में नहीं आ जाती है. Till the time that asset doesn't reaches to its working condition, it's not ready for commercial production and exploitation, all the cost incurred on that asset should be capitalized, should be added to the cost of that asset. Example, installation charges. Example, wages paid, transportation charges paid on bringing that asset from the purchase location to your location where you have to use it. Example, site preparation charges. कुछ बड़ी machines install करने के लिए आपको पहले site prepare करना होता है. अगर मैं वो machine नहीं लाता था तो ये site prepare नहीं करता था. I am incurring this expense because of that asset. Therefore, this expenditure will be added to the cost of that asset. Now, the example given over here is goods purchased from Vivan for rupees 68,000 recorded as purchase of an asset. Is it principally correct? You have purchased what? Goods. But you have recorded purchase of what? Asset. Purchase of goods is a revenue expenditure, but you have treated it as what? Capital expenditure. What will happen as a result of this transaction? Understand. You should have passed correct entry, purchase account debit 68,000 to Vivan's account credit 68,000. But you have passed wrong entry, what? Asset account debit 68,000 to Vivan's account credit 68,000. Now we'll analyze the effect on two things. One is the trial balance, another is profitability. Understand. Have you debited and credited in the transaction with the same amount? Answer is yes. Account doesn't matter. Understand. Have you debited any account by 68,000? Yes, I have debited asset account instead of purchase account by 68,000. Have you credited any account by 68,000? Yes, I have credited. That's all. Your trial balance will tell you. That's all. Trial balance में difference नहीं होगा. Effect on profitability. It is your revenue expenditure. Purchase account debit होना चाहिए था, लेकिन instead आपने कौन सा account debit किया? Asset account. Can I say nominal account is affected? Purchase account should have been debited. Purchase account is not debited. That means your expenses are understated. Your expenses are understated means, can I say my profitability is overstated? Understood all of you? Clear? So, example of error of principle. I hope it's clear to all of you. Let's proceed to the last type of error, and that is known as compensating error. बहुत इंटरेस्टिंग है, समझिए. Compensating error. जब एक गलती को छुपाने के लिए हम दूसरी गलती करते हैं, उसे कहा जाता है compensating error. एक गलती हो गई है, ऑलरेडी हो गई है. अब उस गलती को कैसे सुधारा जाए पता नहीं, तो उस गलती को सुधारने के लिए मैं एक और गलती कर देता हूं, उसे कॉम्पेंसेट करने के लिए एक और गलती करता हूं, उसे कहा जाता है कॉम्पेंसेटिंग एरर. My dear friends, let's take example of what is an compensating error. So goods purchased from Vivan for rupees 68,000 recorded in purchase book. You have given debit effect but not credited to Vivan's account. Credit effect नहीं दिया. एक गलती already हो गई है. क्या गलती हुई है? You have purchased goods from Vivan. You should have debited purchase account. You have debited purchase account. You should have credited Vivan's account. You have not credited Vivan's account. एक गलती हो गई है. अब इस गलती की वजह से क्या हुआ? Your debits are more than your credits. Correct? You can see over here. Your debits are more than your credit. Debit is 68,000. Credit is nothing. Therefore, in this error, your trial balance will not agree. अब आप देख रहे हो आपकी ट्रायल बैलेंस एग्री नहीं हो रही है. अब आपको इसे एग्री करना है. तो आप इसे एग्री कैसे करोगे? आप ये गलती को छुपाने के लिए, आपने देखा है गलती क्या हुई है, क्रेडिट कुछ नहीं हुआ है, क्रेडिट कम हो रहा है, क्रेडिट बढ़ा दो. आप एक और गलती करते हो. आप वो गलती क्या करते हो? आप सेल्स बुक का टोटल 68,000 से ज्यादा ले लेते हो. यू ओवरकास्ट योर सेल्स बुक बाय 68,000. Now when you say you overcasted excess totaled by 68,000, what will happen, my dear friends? You haven't debited anything, but you have credited how much? 68,000. Now in the earlier error, you had short credit. In this error, you had excess credit. Earlier error, there was debit of 68,000. This error, there is credit of 68,000. They both have compensated with each other. This type of error is known as compensating error. Understood all of you? So, based on the nature of error, we have to see what is going to be its effect on trial balance and profitability. First tell me, is it going to affect your trial balance? Answer is no. Why? You have compensated it. Your credit was falling short with the first error. कोई बात नहीं, आपने एक और गलती करके उसे कॉम्पेंसेट कर दिया है, एरर वहीं रिजॉल्व हो गया, ट्रायल बैलेंस टैली होगा, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. इसका प्रॉफिट पे क्या इफेक्ट होगा देखते हैं। परचेज अकाउंट डेबिट होना चाहिए था, आपने किया। विवान अकाउंट क्रेडिट आपने नहीं किया, ओके। सेल्स अकाउंट क्रेडिट होना चाहिए था, आपने सेल्स अकाउंट को ओवरकास्ट किया है, सेल्स अकाउंट को ज्यादा क्रेडिट किया है, सेल्स अकाउंट को ज्यादा क्रेडिट किया है, रेवेन्यू इंक्रीज कर दी है आपने, योर रेवेन्यू हैव बीन इन्फ्लेटेड। रेवेन्यू एंड प्रॉफिट हैज व्हाट टाइप ऑफ रिलेशनशिप? डायरेक्ट रिलेशनशिप. So since you have overstated your profit, overstated your revenues, your profits are also overstated. Are you understanding, my dear friends? So that is how you see this topic is not difficult. If you study in a proper manner, if you study patiently, if you study calmly. So till now what we have seen what is an accounting error, correct? We have seen that what actually happens when a transaction is taken place under double entry system. It should be recorded in the debit side also and credit side also with the same amount, and that is how your trial balance will be tallying. We have seen that if your trial balance tallies, that not necessarily means that your trial balance is not defective. अभी हमने देखा है error of complete omission and error of compensation, compensating error. These are two types of errors. जो errors होते हैं फिर भी हमारा ट्रायल बैलेंस टैली होता है. तो हम ये नहीं कह सकते कि अगर हमारा ट्रायल बैलेंस टैली है इसका मतलब हमारे ट्रायल बैलेंस में कोई डिफेक्ट नहीं है. That's wrong to say. We have also seen after this, we have taken a transaction, goods purchased from Vivan for rupees 68,000. Credit purchase transaction, and we have analyzed various 8 types of errors that can happen and what are its effect on debit, credit and mismatch of trial balance. We have seen the 4 types of errors: error of omission, error of commission, error of principal and the compensating error. And now we are going to proceed to the next segment, is how to detect and how to rectify an error. Now, an error can be located and detected at any point of time. Whether it may be detected at the very initial stage as soon as when we pass an accounting entry, or it may be detected while posting, while totaling, it may be detected at the end of the year when we prepare trial balance and we observe that there is difference in trial balance, or it may happen that it may be even detected in the next financial year also. Now, how you are going to rectify an error? I mean, what is the procedure of rectification? It depends upon the stage of detection. At what stage the error is located, detected, that will determine the treatment of rectification of error. So let's see detection and rectification of an error. An error may be either detected before preparation of financial statements. That means what? The detection of an error and rectification of an error, they both take place within the same financial year. Are you understanding? Say for example, my financial year is 1st April 2016 to 31st March 2017. The error has been detected, located in the same period, and it is rectified in the same period. That's the first branch, detection and rectification within the same financial year. Or it may happen that an error of 2015-16 is getting rectified, not only rectified, detected and rectified in the next financial year. Correct? So we are talking about these two cases where in the first case error has taken place in the same year, detected in the same year and rectified in the same year. But in the second case, error has taken place in the earlier year, but its detection and rectification has taken place in the subsequent year, next year. Now, we'll talk about the first branch. Even in the first branch, there can be two possibilities, my dear friends, where the error is located, detected before preparation of trial balance, or the error is located after preparation of trial balance. My dear friends, understand what is the difference. We have seen accounting process. trial balance is prepared at the end of the accounting year, financial year. Throughout the year, transactions are recorded in the various books of accounts, correct? Now, we have to see the stage when error is detected. Is that error detected in between of the year, before we prepare trial balance, or is it detected at the end of the year, तब जब हम ट्रायल बैलेंस बनाते हैं और हमें पता चलता है कि ट्रायल बैलेंस में डिफरेंस है, मतलब कोई एरर है. Let's see the first case where it's detected before preparation of trial balance. Error is detected at an early stage, that is at transaction stage itself, either while posting, casting, balancing, etc. It's a very early detection stage, please understand. Transaction has been recorded. Consequentially, we haven't prepared trial balance. So trial balance नहीं बनाया तो financial statements नहीं बनाए. Financial statements नहीं बनाए हैं तो profits freeze नहीं हुआ है. मतलब अभी भी आप error को बहुत early stage में rectify कर सकते हो. There's no effect on trial balance, profitability and on financial statements. You can do simple rectification either with single or double effect. So what is that? We will see. There's no use of suspense account. Now something new is coming over here. What do you mean by suspense account? We will see. And there is no use of profit and loss adjustment account. So there's another concept, another account known as profit and loss adjustment account. So when an error is so premature, it's very fresh, it is being detected and rectified before preparation of trial balance, that is the best situation to deal with, because at that point of time, there's no effect on any of the other parameters and you can simply do its rectification. Correct? Now, we'll see the case 2. Under case 2, we are dealing with the case when error is rectified, detected and rectified after preparation of trial balance. Understand? The entire year has gone from 1st April 2015 to 31st March 2016. At the end of the year, you have balanced all the ledger accounts. You have closed the ledger accounts and you have prepared the statement of ledger accounts, summary of ledger account known as trial balance. And now when you prepared your trial balance, you found that it is defective. So what? Detection takes place at the end of the year, correct? It's not too late, but it's late. Trial balance becomes defective. Defective doesn't mean agreed. Please understand. There's difference between agreeing trial balance and defect of a trial balance. A trial balance may be agreed, not necessarily means it's not defective. Defective means the balance in trial balance is not correct. Since trial balance is only prepared, we haven't prepared financial statements out of it. And since we haven't prepared financial statements out of it, we haven't computed profit. Therefore, even though this error is located, this error is rectified at this point of time. That means after preparation of trial balance, there is no effect on profitability as well as on financial statements. Rectification can be done with single or double effect, with or without using suspense account, but there is no use of, again, profit and loss adjustment account. So please understand, if an error is located either at the incipient stage or after preparation of trial balance, rectification is still easy, no problem at all. You may have to use, you may not have to use suspense account, but in both the cases, the important thing is it's not affecting your profitability. It's not affecting your profitability and therefore you don't need to use profit and loss adjustment account. Now we'll see the last case. Under last case, the detection as well as rectification is taking place after preparation of financial statements. Financial statements बनने के बाद एरर डिटेक्ट होता है, रेक्टिफाई होता है. समझिए, 1st अप्रैल 2015 से 31st मार्च 2016 आपका फाइनेंशियल ईयर है. फाइनेंशियल ईयर खत्म होता है. यू प्रिपेयर ट्रायल बैलेंस, you close trial balance, you prepare financial statements, you calculate profit. My dear friends, after financial statements are prepared, means in the next financial year, that means in the financial year 2016-17, you got to know that I have made an error in the financial year of 15-16. Now what? Can we rectify it? Answer is yes. But understand the consequence. Financial statements cannot be tampered or altered at any subsequent point of time. 15-16 financial year has gone. Financial statements of 15-16 is already prepared. Users of financial statements have already used it. Please understand, it has gone to the mass, people, public. They have used it. You cannot change it now. तो सर ये डील कैसे करेंगे हम? How are we going to deal with this? My dear friends, your rectification of error will take place through a separate account, and that separate account is known as profit and loss adjustment account. Let's see what will be its consequences first. Detection takes place in the next accounting year. Financial statements of earlier year becomes defective. Why they becomes defective? Because it contains error. Assets and liabilities of previous years may be understated or overstated. Profitability of the previous year may be either understated or overstated. Rectification is done with single or double effect, again with or without using suspense account. And errors of nominal accounts affecting profitability of previous year and are adjusted through separately opened account known as profit and loss adjustment account. Very, very important thing. I cannot change profit of the earlier year. Let's take an example. We'll discuss a lot of examples, but let's take an example as of now. After I've prepared my financial statements for financial year, earlier financial year, I got to know that I forgot to record an expense of XYZ amount. Now, if I record that expense in the earlier financial year, my profit will change, isn't it? How will I do this? I cannot change the profit which is already disclosed, but yes, I will change it through a rectification entry which will be routed through a separate account known as profit and loss adjustment account. Are you understanding, all of you? So, my dear friends, these are the possible points of detection of error. Now we will see how we are going to rectify error at these possible times. So, the treatment for first two branches is same. Basically, you have to see whether the error is rectified in the same financial year in which it has taken place, or the error is getting rectified in the subsequent financial year. If the error is getting rectified in the same financial year, you have to follow these three steps. Step number 1, write the correct entry. क्या एंट्री होनी चाहिए थी? ये ट्रांजैक्शन को किस तरह से रिकॉर्ड करना चाहिए था? You have to write the correct entry. Step number 2, write the wrong entry. Check what mistake has taken place. क्या गलती हुई? And then, based on that, you have to pass rectification entry. Accounting errors cannot be rectified by overwriting or by tearing off page. Please understand, they are the permanent records. They have to be rectified by passing a separate entry known as rectification entry. Correct? If the error is detected and rectified in the subsequent financial year, you have to follow the other procedures. There are total step 4. Step number 1 is same. You have to write the correct entry. Step number 2 is also same. You have to write the wrong entry. Step number 3 is also same. You have to write the rectification entry as if the error is rectified in the same year. That means if you see, the first 3 steps are common in both the process, correct? You have to pass rectification entry as if the error is rectified in the same year. Then comes step number 4, very, very important. Step number 3 में जो आपने rectification entry पास की है, you have to replace nominal account in that rectification entry with profit and loss adjustment account. Are you understanding? That means this rectification entry passed in step number 3 will get translated. Only nominal accounts will get translated to which account? Profit and loss adjustment account. That is how you have to do. So my dear friends, out of this, can I say rectification entry is nothing but it is equal to correct entry minus wrong entry. Understand properly. Rectification entry is equal to what? Correct entry minus wrong entry. Are you understanding? So my dear friends, after understanding the concepts of this topic theoretically, after understanding all the types of errors, 4 types of errors, the example that we have taken, which we have analyzed from various aspects, after analyzing how an error is rectified, what are the possibilities, etc., now we'll solve certain examples, correct? Before we proceed to the practical questions. So I will now request you to please turn back to page number 48 of your ZPA material. Before we proceed ahead, we will see this next concept. What do we mean by suspense account? So now we have just seen in the rectification of error in that chart that how errors are rectified. We have seen that we may use suspense account, we may not use suspense account. So ये suspense account क्या होता है? हमें पहले ये देखना है, what is a suspense account? A suspense account is a temporary account created to transfer the difference in trial balance. What is a suspense account? Mark my word, it is a temporary account. It's a memorandum account. Please understand. It's only created to transfer the difference in trial balance. It doesn't possess characteristics of any asset, liability, income, expense, and therefore it is neither personal, real or nominal account. Are you understanding? Suspense account का कोई nature नहीं होता है because suspense account is a temporary account. Now understand. Why suspense account I create? Suppose I am an accountant. I am doing accounting. I have seen that my trial balance is not tallying. Now trial balance not tallying means what? Total of trial balance on debit side is not equal to total on credit side. That means trial balance is not tallying. Now I'll have to check which side is greater, which side is falling short, और जो साइड शॉर्ट होगी वहां मैं डिफरेंस ट्रांसफर करता हूं एक टेम्परेरी अकाउंट, न्यूली ओपन अकाउंट, सस्पेंस अकाउंट में, करेक्ट? सो नाउ एज यू कैन सी ओवर हियर, इफ माय डेबिट ऑफ ट्रायल बैलेंस इज ग्रेटर देन क्रेडिट ऑफ ट्रायल बैलेंस, if my debit of trial balance is greater than credit of trial balance, can I say my credit is short? If my credit is short in total, can I say suspense account will be credited? Are you understanding? If debit is more than credit, that means credit is short, and if credit is short, I will transfer difference to which account? Suspense account. Which side? Credit side. Means I will say I have credited suspense account. Other ways round, if debit is short than credit, or if credit of trial balance is more than debit, that means what can I say? Can I say debit is short in total? Yes. If debit is short in total, suspense account will be debited. Are you understanding? Lot of time MCQs are asked on this. Lot of times you are given questions that the trial balance of XYZ do not agree and it is short by this much amount on debit side. Suspense account will be dash. So you have to check these two cases. So if debit is greater than credit, that means credit is short in total. If credit is short in total, suspense account has to be credited, and vice versa. Very, very important thing you have to keep in mind that presence of suspense account in trial balance, presence of suspense account in trial balance indicates defect in trial balance. Please understand. And there shouldn't be any balance in suspense account before you prepare financial statements. बहुत important चीज है, ये जो नोट यहाँ पे दिया है बहुत ज्यादा important है. My dear friends, anyone cannot prepare financial statements with suspense account as a balance in trial balance. If your trial balance has a suspense account, there is no doubt that there is defect in your trial balance. So before you proceed ahead, you need to rectify this.